This is the first lesson for our monthly art lessons, and we're going to be starting with a drawing of a tree, and we're going to be looking at starting off by drawing the basic outlines first and all the individual branches as well. After we've done that, we're going to be laying down a ground. So your initial drawing, you're going to use an HB pencil. For your laying of the ground, you're going to use a 2B pencil, and you're going to work this in using a circular motion with a piece of kitchen paper, or if you prefer, you can use a tortillon tool which blends it in, pushes it into the paper nicely. Okay, working on just ordinary cartridge paper. Okay, so that's your first stage of your drawing. Your second stage is you're going to be starting by actually putting in some tonal work. So working from the top of the image, you're going to start to add your tone to suggest the form of the trunk. Now, you need to be aware of the direction and the shape of the marks which you will be making. So I'm going to be starting right at the top, and I'm going to be using short vertical strokes, and I'm going to use a 2B and a 4B pencil. So when I start with these strokes, I'm going to start looking at where they are on the trunk by going first off to look at where the darkest areas are first. So the pressure that you use obviously is going to affect the type of mark that you make on the paper. So add the pressure when you want very, very dark areas, and also when you want to show the more curved areas. I want you also to curve your mark, so making sure you're not going vertically flat all the time, but that you are showing that it is a curved and rounded form. So this is going to be quite a slow drawing. It's going to take patience, and you're going to be looking at not only the darkest areas but also the lightest areas first. So you've got an establishing of where things are coming on your drawing. So for the darkest areas, observe where they are and start to put them down. So you're being aware of where the light is falling. Make sure you've got your source image nearby. Where you've got the branches in the background, they are almost silhouettes, dark silhouettes. So use your darker pencil. I'm going to bring in a 6B pencil, and I'm going to really sort of press hard and quite flat and even, because I can't actually see a lot of detail. I'm just seeing a silhouette. So that when you're looking at branches of the tree, think about the shapes and the forms and also the negative spaces in between the branches. Be aware that they start off quite wide, and then as they go further up, further away, they're becoming slightly narrower. So you want to be able to sort of observe and show that in your drawing, so that you're tapering them and making them much thinner, and also showing the sort of the curves and the bumps in the branches. They're not just flat and straight. So that is your second stage. Now, I haven't talked to you about lightening and working in with the rubber. But if you do use a rubber, I prefer you to use a putty rubber. That way you can make your rubber into sort of like small tips and shapes, so that you can start to actually take away and lift the graphite where you see lighter areas. So I'm literally just dabbing and taking away where I see the light on the bark, so seeing those shapes, and also being aware of the direction of them and the way they are twisting. Keep moulding your eraser as well to make it clean. So there's another benefit of using a putty rubber. So the larger areas that are much lighter, I'm lifting them off. Again, being aware of the actual shape and movement of the rubber. Remember to keep the rubber nice and clean. So as I said, you keep twisting, reworking it so that you've got a nice clean edge. So the third stage that you're going to be working on is adding texture and tonal mark making. So you've started to think about where your darker areas are and where your lighter areas are, lifting away with your rubber. You're now going to continue with a 2B or a 4B pencil, and you're going to start to work in across the trunk, and also continue using your putty rubber, showing where sort of these different lines and twists in the trunk on this one are falling. Remember that you can also exaggerate, so you can press harder or you can go lighter with your pencil, just to show the different tones and mark making on your work. So we, for instance, take this area here where we've got this branch up here and this large area here. This sphere here is going to be lifted away with my putty rubber. And I'm going to start to draw in underneath where these sort of twists and turns are falling. Remembering to think about direction of the marks and also the pressure of my pencil. It's very important that you sharpen your pencil regularly, keep it nice and sharp. As soon as it starts to go blunt, sharpen it, make sure you can use it so that you can work nice and swiftly and quickly, and with a nice variation in pressure and tone. So when you're thinking about the tree, you're thinking about it as a form, as a shape. So I want you to continually think of the trunk and how it is not flat. What you're doing is emulating a curved, almost cylindrical surface. So we're going to be working very, very gently and slowly to build that surface up. So you've got lines that are starting to sort of almost show that sort of contoured shape, I want you to bring that in gradually. So you're just continuing to place larger and darker tones to establish them. We're not working in great detail, we're just putting down the main areas of light and dark. So we've got a lot of interest as well in this drawing, a lot of sort of little details which are only going to come about through patience and gradual working into the bark. So as I said, this is not a quick drawing, it is a slow drawing, and it will be built up over time. So remember that, and remember to keep thinking about the direction and form of your marks. So the textural qualities are very important. The direction of your mark, the quality of your mark, and also just thinking about which areas are darkest and which areas you need to sort of push to create that sense of texture. I would say come in with a 6B at the end of your drawing, just to sort of bring out and heighten your darker areas. So really push those dark areas at the end of your drawing, so you're revisiting them and going back. So what I'm going to do is finish this drawing, and I will post it on the WhatsApp before our lesson, and I will be giving you a range of source materials, but if you would like to come to the lesson with your own photographs of trees, that would be great, because then we'll have a sort of wider source to work from. But the range of pencils that you need are going to be from an HB through to a 6B, and I'd like you to bring a putty rubber, and also to be working on a 3 size, so on a good size piece of paper. So as I said, this is going to be a slow drawing that is going to be built up gradually, and I will post the end result on the WhatsApp for you to look at. Thank you for watching.